Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. We have a lot to go over. So we're obviously going to take a look at what happened in the markets today with miners along with Bitcoin. There was a great day for those. So we'll just quickly go over that. Then we also have to take a look at the production updates for June. We have it from Bitfarms and Cleanspark. Then we'll also get into Core Scientific as far as what I think it's worth. We'll take a look at possibly what it's worth now and then after the dilution that might happen after the bankruptcy. So we'll take a look at that. And then we also take a look at the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin miners for last week, see how they did. It wasn't a great week for, well, we'll take a look at it. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And since this is going to be a longer video, I'm going to put in the chapters down below so you guys can actually skip to the sections that you want to see. And then I'll provide clips for these videos as well later on this week coming out, okay? So let's get into the market, see what's happening there. S&P was up today 0.12%. Dow Jones was up just barely 0.03%. NASDAQ was actually down 0.3%. We also had a shorter trading day today. We only had until, what was it, 1:30 p.m. Central Time for trading because of the holiday tomorrow, which is obviously 4th of July. So I hope everybody has a great 4th of July here in the United States. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up today still 1.62%. So it's doing pretty good today. And the miners obviously benefited from that, but miners did a lot better than Bitcoin is doing it right now. Looking at Bitcoin as it is right now, it's at 31,110. And it seems like we're getting it through this line of resistance at 31,400 and change. We came close to it here back on Friday, the 23rd of June. We're obviously in July now on the 3rd, and we bounced up to that and we got rejected from it. So I wonder if that's acting as our resistance up here. Okay. The good thing is on the daily chart, we can see here that the RSI is at the same spot it was on Tuesday, the 20th of June, or Wednesday, the 21st of June. Price at that point was lower by about, what was it, about $1,100 or so. So it's a good thing that we're going up. On the 4-hour chart, if we look at it really quick here, see if we can find any kind of patterns here happening. And I really don't see anything yet right now. I'm looking at the peaks here. Last time at this peak, we were back here. Price was actually lower at that point. So that's kind of looking pretty good there. On the 1-hour chart, we can see here that we had two peaks here a little bit. One was higher than the other one, so that was good there. And if we look at the troughs here a little bit, we can see back here, we were actually a little bit lower in price, but that has reversed since then. So I think we're still looking to go up. I wouldn't be surprised if we do go down here eventually. I think it's just getting a little bit overheated here, especially on the daily. We still could possibly trade this way for a while before things come down, but we'll see. Okay, Ethereum also had a pretty good day today as well. It's up only, well, today it's up only 0.82% at 1953. And it's following suit with Bitcoin. Miners, on the other hand, had a fantastic day today. Any was up 10.82% today. Argo was up 3.75%, so not as great of a day as the other ones, but BitDigital was up nicely today at 13.05%. BitDeer was up 2.59%. Bitfarms was up 10.88%. Cypher was up 12.59%. Cleanspark was up 13.52% on the day. Cores was up 4.71%, so it's continuing its little rally here. DigiHost is up 2.23%. DMG was up 2.33%. Greenidge was up huge today, 26.24%. Best performing one today. And I think that's just mainly because it's just bouncing off the bottom here that it reached about 2 weeks ago or so. Hive was up 8.42%. Hive's continuing its rally that it's had here. It's been going up quite nicely for the past, looks like 2 to 3 weeks. Hut 8, same thing, up 6.67% today. And then Iris Energy, another great day for them. They were up 21.46% today. So they actually reached their new highs here. They broke through their resistance, it looks like. Marathon was up 10.53%. And Mawson was up 2.65%. Riot was up 12.94%. Soluna was up 11.29%. Stronghold was up also pretty nicely today, up 22.01%. Looks like they're kind of bouncing off their bottom a little bit as well. TeraWolf was up 15.43%. They're looking really good as well right now. So we'll see how things continue going forward. And let's take a look at the network hash rate, see what's happening there really quick while we're at it. And if we refresh this, let's see where we're at here. We are right now at 360 million terahashes on the 7-day average. We look at the 1-day average. We're spiking back up here a little bit to, where are we at? 430. Wow. Okay, we're back up to 430 million terahashes on the 1-day average. Our previous high was 440, so we're only 10 million away from that right now. But we're still kind of going sideways a little bit. But we'll see how this continues going forward as more miners install machines. Okay, let's take a look at the stories that we do have here. The first one is going to be on Bitfarms. We'll take a look at that one. Get into their production for June. And it's down from May, which is kind of expected. May had the transaction fees added into the Bitcoin rewards. That helped out a lot of the miners here, so we're going to have a pullback, unfortunately. So Bitfarm mines 385 BTC in June. We'll take a look at my spreadsheet here shortly, but we'll just get into all the details here. So deliveries and installations in Rio Cuarto, Argentina continued on pace, and we remain on track to expand to our full operating capacity of 50 megawatts in Rio Cuarto and achieve 6 exahash overall in Q3 2023. We are now getting into Q3, so that should be within the next 3 months. We continue to identify opportunities for accretive growth ahead of the halving event in April of 2024. To this end, we are in the final stages of completing our acquisition in, I can't pronounce that, BC, Quebec. Once closed, we are positioned to move quickly with miner deployments and expect the first 11 megawatts of the 22 megawatts expansion to come online later this year. So that's good there too. Ben stated the following: in June, BTC production was 385 as compared to 420 in June 2022, as a 47% year-over-year increase in our hash rate offset a 71% increase in network difficulty over the same period. Right, and the only way you're going to stay there the same as far as mining is concerned is if you keep up with the network hash rate, whether that increases if you keep up with that or exceed it at least. If you can do that, then you can actually mine more than you did the year prior. Let's see here. We recently purchased an additional 1,650 Bitmain S19 Pro Plus miners for a competitive price of 12.98 terahash. That's really good. And those should get an ROI at these current rates about 8 to 9 months, if not faster, depending on where Bitcoin goes in price. So that's good there that they added some more of those. And then continue our strategy on focusing on return on investment and accretive growth. These miners provide the optimal balance between high energy efficiency and performance without the premium pricing associated with highest efficiency miners available on the market. So I agree with that. There's always a balancing act with this. You have to take a look at what the cost is for the miners. What is your ROI time frame, especially when you get closer to the halving event. So I think they did the right thing here. These miners will be added to the 3,330 miners currently en route to Argentina, representing a total of 4,950 high-efficiency miners that will soon fully utilize the 50 megawatts of infrastructure in Rio Cuarto. So that's good there. And then with the average BTC price of 27,600 in June, cash flow continues to be positive, so that's good. And then both from operations and after scheduled interest and principal payments. So that's good there too as well. And then here's their review. Network difficulty increased 1.1% in June as the Bitcoin network responded to summer heat waves. People are curtailing. Difficulty is up 43.2% year to date in 2023, while the Bitcoin price is up roughly 84.3% in the same period, resulting in a 31% improvement in mining economics as measured by USD per terahash per day, which is true. So that's all good news there. If Bitcoin was flat, or at least at like 43%, something like that, it'd be very difficult for the miners, as it was back towards the late part of last year. Okay, so total BTC mined was 385. Month-end operating hash rate was 5.3. BTC average per exahash, they're saying 77. I have a little bit lower than that. And then BTC sold was 346 here. I don't think there's anything else here. There it is. Financial updates. So reduced total outstanding indebtedness by 1.8 million with a remaining balance of 15.5 million at June 30th. So that's good there. They held 30 million in cash and cash equivalents as of June 30th. So that's good. And then held 19 million in remaining credits for prepaid deposits to be applied against future miner purchases agreements at June 30th. So they still have 19 million that they can use to buy more miners, which is good. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's take a look at my spreadsheet on this one, and we'll get into Cleanspark. So here's Bitfarms. They have about 240 million shares outstanding. Stock price $1.63. Market cap is about 391 million right now. Current hash rate 5.3 exahash. Future hash rate, I'm at 7.5 with everything that's installed, but they could possibly get rid of some of the older miners. And we'll take a look at that down below. BTC HODL is 549. That's valued at about 16.8 million. You can see their BTC production here over the last basically 12, 13 months from June of last year to June of this year. They had their best month, it looked like it was back in August of 2022, at 534 BTC mine. And then after that, they've been kind of up and down a little bit here as time has gone on. May obviously was a really good month for a lot of miners because of the transaction fees added to the Bitcoin network rewards. Okay, so that definitely helped them out tremendously. You can see the month-over-month difference from BTC mined here. Some months were better, some months were worse. They're down and up. Like I said, they're kind of all over the place. A lot of miners are like that. BTC HODL has definitely come down from where it was last year. They had about 3,144 Bitcoin in HODL. They're down to now 549, but we've seen that with quite a few miners as well. BTC per exahash efficiency, this is the way I calculated it. I got them at 72.6. And this is based on their uptime, how many they were running, and adding more miners into that as well also affects that. Here's how much they sold each month. They sold quite a bit here. You can see in June they sold 3,351, so they had almost 7,000 Bitcoins that they had. But they did sell quite a bit here. And That was their highest month that they sold, followed along with December the 22nd, which was pretty high as well. Going to their hash rate and revenue section of things, hash rate has continued to increase nicely here, which is good, but it is not keeping pace with the network hash rate increase. Okay, value. This is this is the revenue that they've been mining each month here, and you can see that it is also kind of up and down depending on where Bitcoin price is and everything else. You can see Bitcoin coming down in value towards the end of last year, and that has obviously affected things, even though their hash rate has been increasing. Okay, but this year it is definitely getting better. Hash rate difference from month to month, you can see that Bitcoin sold value, how much they sold each month here. And then the last 4 quarters revenue, we've talked about this when they actually report their quarterly results, which should be coming out in about a month and a half or so for Q2, and we'll get all this updated as well. Now, as far as the miners that got installed here, let's take a look at the sheets down here. So for the month of June, sorry, I added 2,110 of these 103 terahash miners. That got us an additional 300 petahash that was added in there. Those were operating for about 20.9 days. I'm guessing it somewhere around there. The rest of the miners were operating for 30 days. So pretty much 100% full uptime, looks like. Excuse me. And that got us to the 10.688 million based on the amount that they mined. Bitcoin network, or Bitcoin average price for the month of June. Multiplied that, we got 10.688 in revenue here for that, and they sold obviously 9.6 million as it is right now. Okay, institutions-wise, we can see that institutions stayed the same a little bit, but shares did increase, so it looks like institutions bought about 38,000 more shares over the last month. Percentage owned increased here just by 0.01% from 14.5 to 14.51. We still have only one buy rating from analysts. Price target is still the same, $2 for the high, average $2, low for the $2 as well. Okay, based on what I'm seeing here from them, I'm using the last 3 quarters, which are actual numbers for them. And then we're using the current quarter that's estimated right now at possibly being about 34 million. Combine those together, we get 123 million. We use a 50% net income from that, and then we apply a PE of 15 to come up with a stock, where I think the stock price possibly might be valued at. So for me, they should be probably around 385 to a high of maybe about 578 right now. They're at $1.63. I believe that they're undervalued. And if you guys watched my previous video on which miners are undervalued currently, Bitfarms was definitely in that group along with Cleanspark. So we'll get into Cleanspark next. Okay, so I think that deals with Bitfarms for the most part. Nice to see them continuing to grow, which is always nice to see. They just got to continue to execute on that, continue the growth into the halving, and possibly after the halving, depending on where prices of network miners or ASIC miners go. It might be time to kind of cool off, see how things go. Because whenever we get into a bull run with Bitcoin, the ASIC miners, are being sold for a premium. That's never really good. This is the time where you kind of want to set your cash aside, plan for the bear market again, and then start building out in the bear market again. When prices come down on the ASIC miners, everything else becomes cheaper, and you can build out towards the next halving event. Okay, so that's it. Otherwise, pretty good job by Bitfarms. Let's get into Cleanspark. So if we look at Cleanspark here, Cleanspark is a little bit shorter. Excuse me. Cleanspark had this to say, Zach Bradford, this was a quarter of execution for us as we expect the Washington expansion to go live later this week. We also anticipate that our recently announced acquisition, 2 facilities located in Dalton, Georgia, will be fully operational this month as well. So that's good there. June Bitcoin mining update. So they mined 491 Bitcoin. Calendar year so far, they've mined 3,495. Total BTC holdings was 529. Total BTC converted for operations, they sold basically 413. And then currently deployed fleet of 68,678 miners, representing approximately 6.7 exahash installed and running right now. Operational updates. So Dalton, Cleanspark's newest campus, which consists of 2 facilities in the town of Dalton, Georgia, began hashing almost immediately. After the acquisition was announced in late June, machines are being racked daily with about 1,500 machines currently online. And an additional 4,500 machines are expected to go live in the coming weeks. So they also didn't report any increases in the network hash rate. I'm wondering if they're possibly taking out some of the older miners. Possibly. We'll take a look at the numbers that we do have for them. Excuse me. Washington facility. The 50 megawatt expansion is expected to energize by the end of the week, which is good. Over 14,000 machines are racked and ready to start hashing, so that's really good there. That should get them another, 1.4 exahash, I believe, if not a little bit more, depending on the machines that are in there. Sandersville crew continues to make major headway as they prep the land for Cleanspark's ambitious expansion in Sandersville. The planned expansion will add over 6 exahash to Cleanspark mining operations, which is also really good there. So they are definitely going to be ramping up production here in the coming months, basically. Okay, other than that, that is all that we have for them, I believe. Yep, that is all. Okay, let's take a look at my spreadsheet on them, and then we'll get into Core Scientific. Okay, so Cleanspark has 112 million shares outstanding roughly right now. Stock price is at $4.87. Market cap 548 million right now. Current hash rate 6.7 exahash. They're supposed to get to about 17.5. This is everything that they bought and is running already or is going to be installed. They did state in previous news releases that they are possibly going to be exchanging some of the older miners for some of the newer ones. That could bring them down to about 16 plus exahash. Don't know exactly where they're going to end up at. We'll take a look at the numbers that we do have as far as which miners could possibly be taken out. Okay, Bitcoin HODL is 529. That's valued about 16 million right now. You can see that their BTC production has been, for the most part, increasing here through January. And then after January, it's kind of stalled a little bit as far as how much they're not growing as much. They've actually been coming down. The result of that is because the network hash rate has been increasing, while their hash rate has pretty much stayed the same a little bit here. We'll take a look at that down below. But that's the reason for it. Month-to-month difference, you can see that as well here. BTC HODL has been increasing here nicely ever since February. They were at 100 in February. And they've added another, well, over that span of time, about 429 BTC to their HODL position, which is good. BTC per exahash efficiency, they're at 73.3. Everybody's been coming down because the network hash rate has been increasing. BTC sold, on average, they're selling about between 400 and 500, looks like, Bitcoins a month right now to fund operations and fund growth. Hash rate revenue, you can see here that January, right, they pretty much peaked at 6,600, or 6.6 exahash. February, they got up to, or March, they got up to 6.7. They've been kind of flat. You can see that happening. When that happens, you'll see the production of BTC each month going down, okay? The result of that is network hash rate increasing. Monthly revenue, you can see that the revenue has come up nicely here through May. May was obviously their best month, 16.74 million. Prior to that, they were at 15 million in March and April. They're down to 13 million only in June here right now. Even though with Bitcoin price going up, but the network difficulty getting in there, mining less, right, 491 Bitcoins only this month, that definitely had an impact on it. You can see hash growth month over month, how much they've grown, Bitcoin sold value, how much they've been selling of that. Last 4 quarters revenue, nice thing to see with them at least. It seems like ever since Q4 of last year, their revenue has been increasing here. And with them getting more miners installed in the Q3 numbers, that should also help them get that going up in the direction as well. But we'll see. Last 4 quarters of operating costs. Other metrics, you guys can take a look at those as well. Pause it here if you like. Take a look at those. Those are already covered we already covered those in the quarterly results videos. Okay, institutions did increase a little bit here by 1 to 163 from 162. Shares also increased a little bit here as well, about 50,000 or so, it looks like, from 35.57 to 35.62. Percentage-wise increased to 31.74 from 31.7. We still have 1 strong buy rating, 3 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sell. Price targets are still the same, $12, $8, and $6 from the analysts. And you can see here going down to the miners part of things. We do have some older miners that they've talked about possibly exchanging out. So they do have these 86 terahash miners here, 88 terahash miners here as well. That might be getting out. So we got 93. We got almost 650 petahash right there just between those two alone. And then we got some of the ones that are 98. Those still should be profitable, but I'm thinking maybe those are the ones they're going to be getting rid of, but we'll see. Okay, so based on that and everything else, I had them running to get to the 13.631 million in revenue. I had them operating about 29.76 days, so they did curtail just slightly. Overall, pretty good uptime as it is on that one. Okay, so that's the numbers there, and that's based on the Bitcoin price average for June multiplied by the amount that they mined, and that's how we get the 13.631 million here. Okay, so there's those numbers, and then going back up here to where I see them at. Right now, current quarter is looking at about 45.5 million. That's estimated. Last 3 quarters are actual numbers. So they actually made half in the 1 single quarter now that they did in the last 3 quarters prior. So that's really good. Combined total is going to be about 141 million, 50% net income. We're looking at 70.9 million, PE of 20. We're looking at $12.59. I gave them a PE of 20 because of their growth. They are going to be adding an additional, what is that, 7, they're adding another, geez, what is that, 9 exahash they're going to be adding, right? They're at 7, they're going to be going to 16, 6, and 3, yeah, 9 exahash. 75% net income, we're looking at possibly $18.88. They're currently at $4.87. Definitely way undervalued, right? Even the analysts have them at $12 for the high, $6 for the low. Even based on the analysts, they're way undervalued on that, okay? Another way to take a look at the way that they're being valued right now is taking the market cap, dividing it by the revenue, basically the last 4 quarters of revenue, current quarter and the last 3 quarters, and you get a ratio of 0.3 basically. Or you look at some of the other guys like Riot, Marathon, even Hut 8, they're getting like a 14 if you look at those guys up here. So you're getting a 14 for them. You're getting also for Riot. Let's see here. Where's Riot? Riot is over here as well. Riot's getting a 14.93. Marathon is getting a 14.41. Right, so you can see how badly they're being valued right now as it is, considering that they're doing actually really well. Not sure what the reason is behind them being, or at least dragging behind, but I'm definitely bullish on them and dollar cost averaging as best I can to them. Okay, not financial advice, you got to do your own research. But with all that being said, I do think that they are massively undervalued compared to their peers. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Obviously, we've stalled in production here, or stalled in hash rate increase over the last couple months, and that's based on them buying more miners, waiting for facilities to get upgraded. But once that happens, it's going to be off to the races with them, especially going into Q3 and Q4 of this year before the halving event. And I wouldn't be surprised if things get a little stalled, and maybe not until Q1 of next year. Okay, but nonetheless, they're doing all the right things to get us into the halving event, and then we'll see how the halving event progresses going forward. But overall, great job by those guys there. We'll see how things progress, and that is it. Let me know what you guys think of this or any of the data here. And then let's take a look at Core Scientific. Core Scientific is going to be really quick. I had a lot of requests for this just to go over it. So here's kind of where I'm valuing Core Scientific right now. The only thing that's troubling to me is right now is their hash rate has been decreasing here over the last couple of months. It looks like they've been selling their machines either to creditors or anything like that, anywhere they own debt or anything like that, might be selling that, or just selling them outright to get cash for those, to possibly pay off some of the debt that they do have, being in bankruptcy, Chapter 11, right? So they're trying to restructure there. That's the only thing that's concerning to me. I don't know how June's going to come out, if they're going to be at the same amount or if they're going to be lower. That's the only thing that's concerning to me, like I said, for them. They obviously are mining a lot. You can see here that they've been mining about 1,527 was their best month in January. And then it has been coming down a little bit here to around 1,100 or so in April. I would expect possibly June to be about the same around here, right around the 1,100 mark, depending on how many miners they sold. If they didn't sell any miners, we might be right around there, okay? But based on this data that we do have, this information, we're guessing that the current quarter is going to be about 99.34 million in revenue. Q1 was 98, so it is a little bit of a beat from Q1, but it's still a beat, so we'll take it. And based on that information, I'm looking at between $4.68 and $7.02 with a P of 10. Only reason for a P of 10 is because their growth. They're not going to be growing beyond possibly the 14, where are they at right now? They have 14.9, 15 exahash, unless they actually buy miners, but they have to get out of debt. They have to restructure everything else. That's the only concern there. Okay. So based on this right now, with the amount of shares, we have 376 million shares right now. Stock price is 89 cents. The stock has done actually phenomenally well this past year. It bottomed out at about 4 cents. Anybody that bought in at 4 cents, I mean, wow, you're doing really good right now. A lot of people held on to it. My dad held on to the stock. I think his average is 92 cents. He bought down into the to the lows there, just a dollar cost average into it, hoping that they would restructure properly and possibly have something for the shareholders. Now, that gets me to my next question, is how much are they actually going to dilute the shareholders to get out of this restructuring and get out of this debt? This is without any dilution or anything like that. If they do dilute the shareholders by about 50%, well, you can knock these numbers down by half. So then we're looking at about $2.34 to $3.50 for the high, possibly. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay there. If Bitcoin really does go up in value quite nicely to where I expect it to go by the end of next year, possibly closer to 180, 200,000, this definitely is going to get improved as time goes on, as they're actually mining more, generating more revenue and things like that. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. And then if we're looking at 75% of that, you can just multiply $4.68 times 75 cents. Do the same thing with the upper number, and then it's kind of where you get as far as how much dilution could possibly happen. Okay, so I hope that kind of explains things. If you guys have any questions on this, definitely hit me up in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer there. But yeah, that's it. That's kind of what I'm looking for core right now. So they're still definitely way undervalued where I think they should be, at least, even if they get out of bankruptcy. Even if they get out of bankruptcy, they should be at least $2 and something if they dilute 50%. But we'll see how much that dilution happens. Okay. Now, if they dilute 90% of that, well, then you're going to be about $1 at that point. So they're getting pretty close to where they probably should be valued at. Okay. So be mindful of that. All right. Last but not least, we'll take a look at the weekly performance of the miners versus Bitcoin for the past week here. We always do this usually on Sundays. I was really busy last Sunday, so I didn't have a chance to do this. So we're going to do this right now. This is the top chart. So the top chart is the green bars are from 52-week lows. So how far have the miners gone up from the 52-week lows, which happened right around December, end of December, January timeframe. Okay. So we can see here that core is up huge, right? They bottomed out at about 4 cents, like I said before. They're up almost 2,000% as it is. BitDigital is up really big too, 666%. Cypher is up 648. DigiHost is up 480%. Iris 356. Marathon 345. Argo 344. Hot 8 is up 323. Bitfarms is up 291. Riot is up 263. Hive 240. TerraWolf 224. DMG 146. Cleanspark up 146. Bitcoin is up 93% as of last week on Friday. And Mawson is up only 65.8. Sphere is up 19.9%. So definitely lagging here behind Bitcoin, quite substantial here. And then the red bars are how far the miners are away from their 52-week highs. So a lot of the miners are getting pretty close. Bitcoin's definitely getting close to its 52-week highs from where it was last time. And we got TerraWolf getting pretty close. Hut 8 is also getting close. And then we got BitDigital, Cypher as well, getting to that point as well. Now, as far as how the miners performed here in the last week, let's take a look at that one really quick. We'll go through the 1 week, 4 week, 8 week, and 12 weeks and call it a day here. So let's see here. This should be on the 1 week. Okay. So Bitcoin, excuse me, my throat. I'm starting to kill me. Bitcoin is only up, well, it was down actually from Friday to Fridays. When I track it was down 0.75% on the week. Argo was down 0.62, and then these have done better here. You guys can take a look at this. Core obviously being up the most, 23%. Hut 8 up being 12, High being up 11 as well. Marathon up 9, DigiHost being up 4, Right up only being 1.9, and then everybody else here did the worst. You can take a look at those. If we look at the 4 weeks as well, let's see, had you bought 4 weeks ago, where would you be? Core is up 136% from 4 weeks ago. Bitcoin is up 15.05%. Everybody here has done pretty much better than Bitcoin. You can take a look at that numbers. The only ones that were lagging were Riot, Cleanspark, Sphere 3D, and Mawson. Mawson was actually down 31% from 4 weeks ago. Let's take a look at the 8 weeks really quick as well. If we do that here, we can see here that Bitcoin is up 13.66% from 8 weeks ago. The following companies have done worse: Riot, TerraWolf, Cleanspark, Sphere, Sphere 3D, and Mawson. The ones that's done the best is Core, BitDigital, Hut 8, Hive, Marathon, Bitfarms, doing the best here out of the bunch here, followed with all the rest. And then finally on the 12 weeks, if we look at that here, sort descending, excuse me, Bitcoin is actually down 0.06%. Companies that have done worse here are Cypher, DMG, DigiHost, Riot, Sphere 3D, Mawson. And companies that have done better are Iris, Cleanspark, Argo, Hive, Marathon, Bitfarms, TerraWolf, Hut 8, Core, BitDigital. Core has definitely done really well here in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so that's how the things have stacked up so far. Depending on when you bought into it, hopefully you guys dollar cost averaged into them since end of last year. That would have been a really good time to get in. Here's how things stack up for all the miners here. We can see that we had a divided week last week. Prior to that, we're pretty much in the green here. So we'll see if we can switch that back around to getting more, all of it being green here. But if we look at the weekly chart here, we can see that we can only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 miners being up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 miners being down BTC. We're not including that. But prior week, we had a really good week. It's starting to get more and more green, I think, based on this. If we look back into last year, we can see we had a heck of a lot more red, especially when we got into the fourth quarter of 2022. Okay, so what does this mean for us going forward? We really don't know. We're getting closer to the halving event. Usually halving events are pretty good for us. That usually helps improve Bitcoin price, the miners price as well. We'll see how things go. We still have a long ways to go. I mean, we still have, what, 9 months before the halving event happens. Anything can happen between then. We do have, obviously, some good news with the spot Bitcoin ETFs happening as well. A lot of those have changed their submissions to include Coinbase as their exchange. So that's maybe, fingers crossed, that's going to get passed, but we'll see. Okay. All right, so that's it. Before I ramble on too much, as always, the spreadsheet is going to be available to my Patreon members. I'll try and provide the YouTube members with the screenshots of the dashboards. And then, like I said, I'll get the clips for this video out later on this week. You guys can watch those if you like. And I think that's it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's actually 4th of July, so there's nothing going to be happening tomorrow, so there's going to be no video for that. So maybe I'll put out a clip tomorrow, and then we'll get back into it on Wednesday. We'll see what happens on Wednesday when we return from the holiday, obviously. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, hit me down in the bottom in the comments. And hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.